In recent months, the master matrix system has been heavily debated throughout the state of Iowa. In simple terms, the master matrix is a scoring system that's used to evaluate the possible building of an animal confinement feeding operation facility. In tonight's From the Ground Up, we spoke with a local farmer about groups in Iowa trying to change the master matrix.
There were some private organizations, ICCI and a couple other ones, had a petition that had some proposed rules changes in them, the way it sounded to me, and that they were asking the EPA to commence rulemaking to include some of those provisions.
Some of those rule changes filed in the petition to the Environmental Protection Commission called for an increase in distance between neighbors and livestock facilities, better odor and pollution control, and higher overall scores for construction approval. These changes would make it more difficult for factory farms to set up in Iowa. Stephen used to sit on the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors, so he's seen his fair share of problems with the matrix.
One owner owned a barn, 2,400 head underneath the master matrix, and they put up another barn next to it, surveyed the land off, and it's got two owners, maybe some of the same owners, and they were deemed separate farms. I think something like that is should be looked at.
By an 8-0 margin, the EPC said they would not make any changes to the master matrix. Stephen is satisfied the rules weren't changed, as he believes it's up to the legislature to change the system, not to non-elected officials.
They said, no, we're not supposed to rewrite the law. The legislators are. And some people saw that as passing the buck, but to me, I don't want an unelected bureaucrat making rules on how, whether it's that or anything. I don't want that to happen.
The one and only version of the master matrix has been in use since 2004, and some people across the state clearly think it's time to change some of the rules. But if the EPC won't do it, why won't the legislative system make changes?
You're upsetting a pretty formidable group of constituents, which are the farmers. There aren't very many of us left, but a lot of times we'll vote in a block, and if you don't like what they do, there is an alternative, and that's the person on the other side of the ballot.
Something else of note when it comes to large confinement facilities, the Des Moines Register recently reported that the Iowa DNR via satellite images found 5,000 previously unknown confinements, and around 1,300 of those were big enough to be overseen by the state.